Top 10 people I would cheat on Aslan with. It's a joke. Hold on. No one. Penguins fans don't cheat. Mm-hmm. Get it? Mm-hmm.
This is Radim. He's been in the background of a couple videos, but I'm officially giving him a name tonight. His name is Radim because the Penguins win 5-2 over the New York Rangers. And Radim Zohorna had himself a game, and everyone looked good. Those past two games against the Rangers and the Bruins hopefully can be written off as a fluke. The Penguins looked great in this one, and they're back, in my mind, as Stanley Cup contenders. I really have nothing bad to say about this team right now and this game tonight. And then also, of course, the trade deadline still, happening. I did that cringy little song the other day. But someone did make a trade, and Brett Connolly was traded today, and yesterday, Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac were traded as well. That'll be the latter end of this video. We'll go over some other trade deadline candidates. Just trade deadline candidates, not potentially fits for the Penguins. Like freaking David Rittich is on here. That's not linked. But we'll go over that towards the end of the video. Okay, let's go over the lines. There weren't any changes, but there is one small thing that I want to go over. Same exact lineup. Jari's in. He doesn't get pulled in this one. Same lines. Zohorna's in. I didn't know Anthony Angelo was hurt, so last game I had him as a healthy scratch. Apparently he is hurt. No offense to Angelo, I didn't really notice. But other than that, there's no lineup changes. But the thing that I just want to point out here is that this team is playing incredible right now. And this team is without Evgeny Malkin. And this team is without Teddy Bluger. And this team is without Kasperi Kapanen. And this team is without Brandon Tanev. Those are four impactful players for the Penguins. Adding them to this roster may be the Penguins' best trade deadline acquisition. It happened in 2016. Malkin crashed into the boards, and he was hurt, and he didn't come back until before the playoffs. And we all know what happened. Penguins, man, they're going to be so much better when they get these players in, and it's just making me super excited. So right off the bat in this one, the Penguins come out flying. They got 9 shots within the opening 6 minutes in this one. They look determined to win. They obviously were not happy these past 2 games, giving up 15 goals in 2 games. Shesterkin had to be good in the early parts of this one, but he wasn't good enough as Radim Zohorna, the goal that he had tonight, was beautiful. He looked like a veteran power forward. The Penguins' bottom 6, not just in this game, but these past couple of weeks have really, really been impressing, and that's the key to the Penguins' success. And I've said it before, I'm like, I don't know if Frederick Gaudreau is a Stanley Cup winning bottom 6 forward. And he's proving me wrong. And Jared McCann's proving me wrong. And Evan Rodrigues is proving me wrong. Just for some statistics, Frederick Gaudreau, he went 11-1 on the faceoffs tonight. 11 wins and 1 loss tonight. He didn't find himself on the score sheet, but that's so impactful. Sam Lafferty, he got into a scrap tonight. He also drew a penalty, which led directly to a power play goal by the Penguins. Again, there's no specific statistics for penalties drawn that lead to power play goals. I don't know if there is. Please let me know in the comments. But that's the little stuff that matters so much. Sam Lafferty has making a name for being in the lineup each and every night. And even if he's not, he's a player that the Penguins can look to for depth with injuries. Mark Jankowski entering this game, he had he factored in on 4 of the Penguins' last 6 even strength goals entering this game, and then tonight he scores as well. It was an empty net goal, but still, I mean, he's got 4 goals so far, despite going through that, that stretch where he didn't really score much. And then, as I mentioned before, Radim Zohorna, he's got 4 points in 4 NHL games. The kid looks amazing. There's not enough room, though, is the bad part, and that's also a good part. It's a good problem to have. There's not enough room, especially when Bluger and Tanev and Malkin and Kapanen come back. Malkin is not going to be beat out of the lineup by Anthony Angelo or Frederick Gaudreau or Mark Jankowski, but it is motivating these players. Anyways, got a little sidetrack there, but in the second period, the Rangers do tie it up with Colin Blackwell. He gets his 11th. I didn't know he had that many goals. I really didn't even know who the hell he was. It was a quick pass to the slot. They were on the power play. It went in as well. Kris Letang passes the puck into the net in this one. And it was pretty funny because, you know, we were always on Kris Letang for how he should shoot the puck more. And in this one, he was trying for a pass for Bryan Rust, and he missed Bryan Rust, but didn't matter because the puck went in the net. It's 2-1, and then Rodrigues, with an assist from Radim Zohorna, gets the Penguins up 3-1. Sam Lafferty, as I mentioned earlier, he gets into a tilt. I was so fired up when Sam Lafferty in this one. He looked incredible in that fight. And he was jumping. He was ready for that fight. And again, not impactful on the score sheet. He doesn't have a goal this year. But, you know, that fires up the team. That gets the energy in the locker room. And, you know, he drew that penalty earlier that led to the Penguins scoring as well. It was a really eventful second period. You had a fight, you had 2 goals, and then you also had a penalty shot. Chris Kreider was stopped on it by Tristan Jarry, though. Cody Ceci took the initial penalty. It was a good penalty to take, though. Kreider probably would have scored on it. And then Sidney Crosby also left the game, but it was just for a skate issue. He was back in this one. Also of note, Tristan Jarry needs to stay in his net. He looked pretty sketchy in terms of puck possession, and honestly, the Rangers could have. They had 2 grade A chances, and they just missed the net. Zibanejad and then Buchnevich had the other one, if I remember correctly. And, you know, it could have been a completely different game. And Jarry needs to stay in his. He's a very good puck handler for a goalie, but it's just, you know, it's when, you know, you need to go. You need to pick your chances. I didn't catch the third period of this game live. I was on CSC tonight, so I saw that Zucker scored. That's amazing to see him get on the board. Penguins need him to start heating up, especially with Malkin inevitably coming back. Zucker may be bumped down to the third line. And then Kevin Rooney scored again. Adam Fox, man. I think Adam Fox is a top 10 defender in the league, maybe top 5. He has been incredible for the Rangers. He set up this play again. And then the empty netter to seal it, though, Mark Jankowski. My 3 stars of the night are all bottom 6 forwards from the Penguins. Gaudreau, 11-1 on the faceoffs. Lafferty had that tilt and got a penalty that led directly to a Penguins goal. And then Radim Zohorna, goal and assist in this one, and he is staying in the NHL. He's never going back to the Czech League, and he's never going back to the AHL. He belongs in the NHL. His size, his speed, his skating, his finesse, you know, he had good hands on that play as well. He looks great, and I'm so excited for him to, you know, to be a good player from the Penguins. And, you know, if you're trading away all your first-round draft picks, you got to find another way to add small depth pieces and youth pieces to the Penguins organization. That's exactly what Jim Rutherford did when he brought over Radim Zohorna. So he's still, you know, paying dividends even though he's gone. Jim Rutherford is. Now, quick news and notes around the league, just real quick. The Islanders won tonight in the shootout. They're at 56 points. Washington's at 54, and then the Penguins are in third right now. Boston trails them by 4 points. They're at 48, so a little bit of a gap there. And then a big gap between Boston and Philadelphia, who has 42 points. Philly's not making the playoffs this year, guys, and I'm very excited and very happy to say that. And then the Rangers have 41. So that is it for the main PFR for this one, but we'll switch it over to talk about the trade deadline, which is next Monday. It's Thursday. This video probably, and it's 11 o'clock right now. It'll probably be posted on Friday on the East Coast, so you can go ticking time clock here. Don't think there's going to be a lot of trades, but we'll still go over some names that were on the TSN trade bait board. Last video, I went over the top 15 names. Things have changed with their list, but I went over the next 15 names on the list that I haven't went through. Again, not saying the Penguins can be interested in all these names on here. I'm just, you know, going through them because I'm a hockey fan just in general. I like watching the NHL, and I'll go over which teams I think these players could go to. And right off the bat, I'm going to start it with a very bold prediction here. In the last video, I said that Taylor Hall is on his way to St. Louis. And in exchange, I think it's going to be for Mike Hoffman. I think it's going to be a flip-flop. I think both of those forwards are kind of, you know, journeymen, not necessarily washed up, but, you know, still trying to find their footings after having some decent seasons in the past. I think Taylor Hall's going to St. Louis, and I think Mike Hoffman's going the other way. Just a dumb little prediction I have, but, you know, I come back to this video when it inevitably happens. Next up on the board was David Rittich. I didn't know Calgary was trying to trade him. I don't know if they are trying to trade him, if this is just TSN being TSN. Colorado needs a goalie. Okay, that could be a fit, possibly. But again, I think my opinion on goaltenders in the NHL is different than it has been in years past. In years past, you needed your goalies to be superstars, essentially. You needed them to be, you know, very good. In my opinion, I don't think you need to have necessarily a superstar goalie to win championships. I think you just need to have a hot goalie Jordan Binnington's not the best goalie in the National Hockey League. He was the best goalie in the National Hockey League in the 2019 playoffs, though. Cam Ward was never the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. He was only the best goaltender in the National Hockey League in the playoffs with the Hurricanes in 2006. I don't necessarily think you need to have a phenomenal goalie. And I'm bringing this up because Colorado, there's been a lot of talk with Colorado and how Grubauer's not, a starter. Give him a chance, damn it. Like, Colorado's a good team. They have great defensemen. And if Grubauer, he's playing good right now, let him develop into that role and let him develop into a starter. Just like, the Penguins are doing with Tristan Jarry. You got to take a chance on your young guys. You're eventually going to run out of starting goaltenders to trade for in the league. Speaking of Colorado, former Colorado defender on Chicago right now, Nikita Zadorov. I didn't know he was on the block. I'm kind of interested. Even though the Penguins defense is pretty much set in stone right now, he's a good player. He's very young. I don't know a team that would need him. Is Alex Pietrangelo still hurt? I don't know, because Vegas, there. Zadorov can go to Vegas. I don't know. Tyler Bozak from St. Louis. $5 million, washed up centerman, former Stanley Cup champion, but I don't see any team looking for Tyler Bozak. I don't see any team going on the trade block and seeing Tyler Bozak's name and being like, we got to get him. No. Especially with the cap hit, I don't see Tyler Bozak going anywhere. Jamie Alexiak. You guys want to trade that 4th round pick for him again? I don't see a fit for Alexiak anywhere. I didn't even know they were trying to trade him. The Stars aren't going to make the playoffs this year. It's been a weird year for them due to COVID and everything, and Texas being flooded and everything like that. I don't have a fit for him. I don't think he's getting traded. Rickard Rakell. This is an interesting one. Penguins fans have linked him to the Penguins, and they want him on the team. My question is why? I understand he's a good player, but he's 28. He's 28. He's not that young. He's okay. I think the most points he had was like 60-ish points. That's okay. But he's not an all-star forward. And the Penguins, right now, Guentzel and Rust are top 6 forwards. Zucker is as well. And when Kapanen and Malkin get back, obviously you have that. And then there's Sid. I think the Penguins' top 6 is solidified with that. And maybe you flip Rodrigues or Zucker or whatever. I don't think the Penguins need a top 6 forward. I think they need a bottom 6 forward. And I don't think Rakell's a bottom 6 forward. People want to bring in Rickard Rakell so we can play with Malkin or Crosby. Crosby's line mates are set. Malkin and Kapanen are set, and Rakell's a right winger. I don't see Rakell as a fit, even though he is very intriguing. I don't understand why Penguins fans are shipping him with the Penguins so much. He would also be pretty pricey. I wouldn't say necessarily a first, maybe a second. Penguins can't afford to give that up. I don't see Rakell. So I'm giving him to the Oilers. I think the Oilers are going to add at the deadline. I have no idea what their prospect situation is like, but they can add. On the flip side, Kris Tierney from Ottawa, only 25 years old, been traded twice already, and he's an intriguing name for me because he's a center, and he's a bottom 6 forward, despite how, he's a good player, he's talented. He's on a team that is definitely going to sell. I don't necessarily know what he would be worth, but I know he would cost a lot less than Rickard Rakell. And then with that, maybe you move McCann back up to the second line on the wing. You move him back to the wing. I don't know. I want McCann as a center, though, but it's a different conversation. Tierney is my pick currently. I know I went off on, I wanted Erik Haula a couple weeks back. I still would think Erik Haula would fit with the Penguins nicely, but I don't think Nashville's going to trade him anymore since they're doing a lot better. My new Penguin player that I want them to get is Kris Tierney. He's not a big name. And, the trade deadline is people that get the big names never seem to do much in the playoffs. So that's why I'm kind of excited that the Islanders got Zajac and Palmieri, which means that's a big trade. So therefore, they're not going to win the cup. Again, with the goaltenders on here, Devan Dubnyk, I don't understand where he would go. I forgot he was in San Jose. No, where? Who wants him? Who wants Devan Dubnyk now? He's washed up. He was good, but he's no, just no. Bobby Ryan, this is a player that's 100% getting traded, in my opinion. A lot of teams will have interest in him as he's a former, big goal scorer. Towards the end of his career, though, a team that I think he would fit perfectly on would be Tampa. Tampa had experience with guys like Pat Maroon, where, you know, they're kind of towards the ends of their career. They can be a bottom six forward and still provide a lot of, you know, culture in the locker room. I think Bobby Ryan could definitely fill that void, and he would be cheap as well to coming over from Detroit. So Colin Miller out of Buffalo. Don't know much about him outside of the fact that he's on Buffalo and he used to play for Vegas. And Florida needs a defenseman. There you go. Marcus Sorensen from San Jose. San Jose is going to make the playoffs, possibly. I don't understand why there's a bunch of names from San Jose here, potentially being linked to trades. San Jose is creeping up on a playoff spot. Sorensen's not going anywhere. Mark Stahl. Mark Stahl could be a good depth defenseman. Add for a team. Give him to Philly. Go ahead. Sam Bennett. I'm surprised that this name was so low on the trade bed board, as he's, you know, he's been linked to a lot of trades so far. I'm going to give him to Toronto. I think Toronto could be interested in a player like him, a kind of a project player. And what they're doing with Galchenyuk now is working, so maybe it'll work with Bennett as well. And I obviously think that Toronto will be buyers at the deadline. And given the fact that, you know, Calgary, Toronto, two Canadian teams, you won't have to quarantine for as long as he would as if he was going to a North America or American team. Michael Del Zotto, again, going to be shipped at the deadline probably. That poor guy, he's been traded I don't know how many times at the deadline. I'm going to give him to Carolina. They can use some defensive depth there. That's all I got. And then lastly, Brandon Sutter, former Penguin, one of my former favorite players. I still enjoy watching him play, but he's, you know, I don't see him game in and game out. I don't think he's going to get traded. Vancouver, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Their whole team is a mess. I'm sorry to any Vancouver fans watching. So there's the next 15 names on the list. And for the Penguins, the only name that I think could stand out here, maybe Bobby Ryan or Rickard Rakell if you want to buy, you know, a pretty pricey player. But I think Chris Tierney is the best fit for the Penguins. That is all for this one. Thank you all for watching. Very excited for the trade deadline. The Penguins are back in action tomorrow night, though, against the New Jersey Devils. I'll be back. I'll be covering lacrosse, softball, and then softball again tomorrow. So it'll be an eventful day as well. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. 200 subscribers is what I'm looking for next. We're very close to that one. Once I hit 200, I will be going over my picks for the Pittsburgh Penguins all-time team. There's a lot of obvious names on there, but I still want to give my thoughts on, you know, who would fill out the bottom six for the Penguins in there. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow for New Jersey.